What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of High Mythology, the show where we get higher than the crow that flew over hills and jungle and tell you guys silly stories from mythology and folklore.
Nice.
Tonight, we will be bringing you some more folktales from India.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah, they're fun. There are some fun stories, I'm sure. I haven't heard them.
Mother-in-laws are always the funniest.
Mother-in-laws are always the fun. Aren't they always, though?
But there's no mother-in-laws in this one.
Oh,
sorry.
Where's our...
Yeah. Failed. I got something better, though.
I got something better. Father-in-laws?
No. Wives. They grow up to be bad mother-in-laws anyway.
Eventually, wives grow up to be mother-in-laws, I've heard.
This is true.
It is known.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. Some of the time.
No, it doesn't happen.
Yeah. So you go ahead and take it away there, Kimbo.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell the title and where it's from?
No.
Okay.
Story 1. What happens when you really listen? Like, share, and subscribe. What happens when you really listen?
What region?
Telugu?
Telugu? Okay. Yeah. A villager who had no sense of culture and no interest in it was married to a woman who was very cultured. Not me.
Not me.
She tried various ways of cultivating his taste for the higher things of life.
Sniff this wine.
But he just wasn't interested.
No.
Once a great reciter of the grand epic called the Ramayana came to the village.
The Ramayana man came to the village.
We're going to do that one at some point. That is an
That's
epic
a whole
tale.
story, Ramayana.
Every evening, he would sing, recite, and explain the verses of the epic. The whole village went to this one-man performance as if it were a rare feast.
That's what happened back. That's what people used to do before TVs. A guy would just come to your village like, I know a story. Everyone gather around 7:30 p.m. Central Time.
Made a good living.
I'll be telling it.
Yeah. The woman who was married to the uncultured dolt tried to interest him in the performance. She nagged him and forced him to go and listen. This time he grumbled as usual, but decided to humor her. So he went to in the evening and sat at the back. It was an all-night performance, and he just couldn't keep awake. He slept through the night. Early in the morning, when a canto was over and the reciter sang the closing verse for the day, sweets were distributed according to custom. Someone put a few sweets into his mouth of the sleeping man. And he woke up soon after and went home. You're lucky you didn't get teabagged.
I know. Yeah, they also put their dick in his mouth and took a picture, but, they gave him some donuts afterwards, so it was a nice thing to do.
His wife was delighted that her husband had stayed through the night and asked him eagerly how he enjoyed the Ramayana. He said,
It was very sweet.
The wife was happy to hear. The next day, the wife again insisted on listening to the epic. So he went to the enclosure where the reciter was performing, sat against the wall, and before long fell fast asleep. The place was crowded, and a young boy sat on his shoulder and made himself comfortable and listened open-mouthed to the fascinating story. In the morning, when the night's portion of the story had come to an end, everyone got up, and so did the husband. The boy had gotten off earlier, but the man felt aches and pains from the weight he had borne all night. When he went home, and his wife asked him eagerly how it was, he said,
I think somebody put their dick in my mouth. It got heavier and heavier by morning.
The wife said,
That's the way the story is.
And she was happy that her husband was at last beginning to feel the emotions and the greatness of the epic.
I'm snooty.
On the third day, He sat at the edge of the crowd and was so sleepy that he laid down on the floor and even snored.
Carry on.
Early in the morning, a dog came that way and pissed into his mouth. A little bit before he woke up and went home. When his wife asked him how it was, he moved his mouth this way and that, made a face, and said,
I think something pissed in my mouth. It was terrible. It was so salty. It's like briny.
His wife knew something was wrong, asked him what exactly had happened, and didn't let up till he finally told her how he had been sleeping through the performance every night. So on the fourth day, his wife went with him. She sat him down in the very front row and told him sternly that he should keep awake no matter what happened. So he sat dutifully and in front row and began to listen. And very soon he was caught up in the adventures and the characters of the great epic story. On that day, the reciter was enchanting the audience with the story of Hanuman, the monkey, and how he had to leap across the ocean and take Rama's signet ring to Sita, the abducted wife of Rama. When Hanuman was making his leap, the signet ring slipped from his hand and fell into the ocean. Hanuman didn't know what to do. He had to get the ring back quickly and take it to Sita in the demon's kingdom. While he was wringing his hands, the husband, who was listening with rapt attention in the first row, said,
Hanuman, don't worry, I'll get it for you.
And then he jumped and dived into the ocean, found the ring on the ocean floor, and brought it back and gave it to Hanuman. Everyone was astonished. They thought this man was someone special, really blessed by Rama and Hanuman. And ever since, he has been respected in the village as a wise elder, and he has also behaved like one. That's what happens when you really listen to the story, especially the Ramayana.
Mm-hmm. He still drinks cheap beer and watches NASCAR.
Absolutely, that's it.
Yeah, that's the story. Yeah. His wife never cultured him.
Well, if you like that, don't forget to like us. Mm-hmm. Share, subscribe.
Yeah, listen, because this is what happens when you really listen.
Follow us.
Follow us.
Where could they find us?
You can find us everywhere. Anywhere you want to look. High Mythology. Look that up wherever you get your podcast.
And always type in Howley Boy with it. For some reason, that's you have your best chances.
HAOLE_BOYS on Twitter. Yeah.
Well, like if you YouTube search this shit too, you gotta like type in the name and then also Howley Boy, and it just pop up.
Wow.
Right away.
Yeah, son of a gun. There we go.
We'll do story 2.
Woo! Story 2. Moving forward, the story is called Tenali. How Tenali Rama became a jester.
Boom.
Boom.
So, to tell you a little bit about Tenali Rama and the regions that it's from.
It's from some regions.
The Kannada, the Tamil, and the Telugu.
Canada?
Telugu.
Hey. Hey, buddy.
So this dude was a jester at the court. Forgive me. Krishnadevaraya, king of Vijayanagara in South India in the 16th century. Just as a gospel bar was the jester of Bengal and Birbal, the jester of Mongol, North India. Scores of stories are told about him all over South India in Telugu, Tamil, and Kannada. Children, books, comics, and even a television series has been created around this legendary jester.
Oh.
He's kind of a dick.
He's kind of a dick. Okay. Yeah. Preface, he's kind of a dick.
So there's a couple stories about him going. Okay. In southern Indian village called Tenali, lived a clever Brahmin boy. His name was Rama. Once, a wandering sannyasi was impressed with the boy's looks and clever ways. So he taught him a chant and told him,
Hey, bro, if you go to the goddess Kali's temple at nighttime and, say those words, 3 million times, She'll appear in front of you with like 1,000 faces and like 10,000 titties, bro. I'm like, give you what you ask for, you know? And if you don't let her scare you.
Yeah, she's
kind of scary,
goddess
bro.
of death, for sure.
She's got a lot of faces, bro. And they're always looking at you.
Rama waited for an auspicious day, went to Kali's temple and outside his village, and did as he was told. As he finished his 3 millionth chant, the goddess did appear before him, and with her 1,000 faces and 2 hands. When the boy looked at her horrific appearance, he wasn't frightened at all. He fell into a fit of laughter. No one had ever dared laugh at the presence of this fearsome goddess. Offended, she asked him,
Hey, little fucker. You called me here and now you're laughing. What are you laughing about? Don't laugh at me, I'm Kali.
He answered,
Oh, mother, we mortals have enough trouble wiping our own asses down here when we have a cold. Though we have, 2 hands and only 1 pooper there. If you, with your 1,000 faces, you could catch a cold. It's cold season, so it's just making sure get some cold and flu treatment, maybe get your flu shots in,
Oh, Jesus.
How would you manage with just 2 hands for all those runny noses, huh?
The goddess was furious. She said,
Okay, you little shit. Because you laughed at me, you'll make a living only by laughing. You'll be a fucking Victor Kari over here, fucking jester.
Victor Cave.
Victor Kari. Victor Kavi. Yeah, you'll be one of those anyway. People will laugh at you. You silly fuck.
And Rama replied,
Oh, eh? Vic, take a coffee over here. That's terrific. I've always wanted to be one of those guys. It's a palindrome. It reads, Vic, take a coffee over here. Whether you read it from right to left or from right to left,
Okay. The goddess was pleased by Rama's cleverness that saw a joke even in the curse. She at once relented and said,
No, you'll be a fucking Vicatavi over here, but you'll be a jester to a king, huh?
And then she vanished.
How do you like that? You didn't even bring my goddamn cigarettes.
Soon after that, Tenali Rama began making his living as a jester to the king of Vijay Anagara. On to the quick story. Tenali Rama's Ramayana.
Oh, Tenali Ramayana. Oh, we ran into full circle over here. Story 3.
A courtesan once invited Tenali Rama to recite the story of Ramayana. He began the story by saying,
Oh, yeah, Rama and Sita there, they went up north into the forest looking for Bigfoots and whatnot.
And then stopped there. He said nothing more. The courtesan waited and waited, and then finally asked, And then what happened? And Tenali Rama said,
Oh, sorry, don't be impatient there. You're still walking in the forest. A lot of beavers up there taking down trees that'll add another day to your journey. It's kind of like the Oregon Trail up there.
At another time, he was angered by a similar request from another arrogant courtesan. He said,
Oh, yeah, no, I'll make you experience the Ramayana there, just as it happened with the Ramayana, the Hanuman's the monkey. He set fire to the city of Lanka just like this. I'm going to set some stuff on fire real quick. Don't mind me.
And he set fire to the courtesan's house. The end.
I'm going to just quick, sorry I kind of burnt your fucking house down there, friend. But
No, he wasn't sorry at all.
I ain't sorry, but, it's
sorry.
Pretty funny. It's pretty funny. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
Moving on. 2 sisters.
2 sisters. From Santali.
Hey.
Hey, I made it sound Spanish. Santali?
I think so. A Santal had 2 daughters. Once they had spread some patty on the flat stone to dry in the sun and were resting under a tree.
I do that all the time.
A crow flew in from somewhere and perched on that tree. It had a ripe fruit in its beak, and the girls looked at the fruit and wanted it. At that moment, the crow chanced to drop the fruit. The girls picked it up and ate it. It smelled and tasted wonderful.
That's how you get worms.
Mm-hmm. They asked the crow where they could get such fruit, and the crow asked them to follow it, and so they did. The crow flew over hills and jungle, and the girls followed its flight. Whenever they were tired and sat down to rest, the crow too would rest on a branch. After many days, they arrived in a dense jungle, and in the middle of it stood a tree with the miraculous fruit. The two sisters plucked and ate the fruit that they could lay their hands on. And then the elder sister was thirsty and asked the younger one to go make a leaf cup and bring back some water from the nearby hill stream. While the younger sister was gone, a tiger appeared from nowhere and pounced on the elder sister and devoured her. As she was dying, she cried and sang a song. My darling sister, what a bad moment I chose to send you for water.
Wow.
Now I'll never see you again. Never, never. Not till I'm born again. Boom.
Yeah. Drum solo.
6 minute.
6 minute long drum solo. It's wild, guys. This song's wild. 3 guitar solos.
The wind carried the wailing song as the younger sister returned with the water in the leaf cup. She only found a tuft of torn hair and a skull where her sister had once been. She then heard the tiger growl from the bushes nearby, and she quickly climbed a tree. She sat there amongst the branches for 7 days and 7 nights without food and water. One day, 2 cowherd boys passed that way, saw the girl in the tree, and persuaded her to come down. One of them married her, and they raised a family together. The seasons came and went. When it rained, a snake gourd plant sprouted out of the skull of the dead sister, and a tuft of hair grew into a bamboo bush with lovely nodes on its stem. In time, the snake gourds grew ripe and dried up, and the bamboo bush grew large and became a grove. The 2 cowherd brought their cattle to graze upon the area. One day, they cut a bamboo stem to make a flute and a dried-up snake gourd to make a kendra, a stringed instrument, so you know. Whenever they played the flute and the kendra, the tune of the wailing song and the sister had sung before she died seemed to burst forth from the instruments. Although no one else knew what it was, the younger sister could tell her sister's spirit was somewhere around. She knew that her sister couldn't tear herself away from her even after death. The unmarried cowherd had also made himself a flute and a kendra, and after a time he was surprised to see that someone seemed to be tidying his hut whenever he was away. The floor was swept clean, and the kitchen things were washed and stacked, and he couldn't understand what was happening. He mentioned this mystery to his cowherd friend and his wife, and one day the wife waited for them to go to the forest with their cattle and hide behind the tree outside their friend's hut. Oh, was she surprised! I lost my spot.
No!
When she saw a young woman come out of his kendra as soon as the place was deserted and began tidying things up. She could see that it was none other than her elder sister, Elsa. No, just kidding.
Elsa.
Returned from the dead.
She's not a lobster.
She rushed in and embraced her and cried,
Don't you ever go away and leave me. Also, where are my Virginia Slims and tonic?
I think this is before her smoking days.
Yes.
You don't sound like you're a smoker.
I know, I didn't know that you planned for me to use that voice. I had to use that. She's a god.
Oh, you could have just left it out. It's okay.
Papa!
When the friends returned, they too rejoiced at their reunion. The bachelor married the elder sister, and the families lived happily next to each other, bringing up sons, grandsons, and great-grandsons. Finito.
Interesting.
I guess in Italian's fin.
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 Interesting
No
story
motto.
there. No motto. No motto.
Sorry.
Well, yeah.
You want to keep just jumping in?
Let's do it. Let's moving on down the line.
What are we on? 4?
We're on number 5, Suku and Dooku.
Suku and Dooku. From
Bengali.
Heyo.
Heyo.
A man had 2 wives and had a daughter by each of them. Dooku was the daughter of the elder wife, and Suku was the daughter of the younger. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The man loved his younger wife and her daughter, Suku, more than the older wife and her daughter, Dooku. The daughters' natures were just like their mothers. Suku was a lazy and ill-tempered as Dooku was active and lovable. Father loved the lazy, ill-tempered one. Furthermore, Suku and her mother hated the other 2 and treated them badly anytime they had a chance. They are assholes. The man took ill and died in spite of every kind of treatment.
He just died from spite. I'm so fucking resentful. You need to know I hate you so much. I am dying right now.
The younger wife inherited all of his property, and she drove Dooku and her mother out of the house. Dooku and her mother found an empty hut outside of town and occupied it. They made a living by spinning thread. One day, when Dooku was spinning outside her hut, the wind blew hard and carried away her wad of cotton. She ran after it, but she couldn't catch up with it. When she began to cry in desperation, she heard a voice in the wind.
Dooku, come with me. I give you all the cotton you want.
So she followed the wind. On the way, she met a cow, which spoke to her. Not so fast, Dooku. My shed is covered with dung. Please wash it for me, and I'll help you out later.
It's like someone dropped a Dooku in there.
Someone dropped a Dooku all over my shed. It wasn't me. I don't spray up on the roof. I think it's all the damn crows.
This is the crow shit.
Dooku drew water from the well and got herself a broom and washed the cowshed clean as clean could be. The wind was waiting for her to finish, and as soon as she finished, she went with the wind again. They came to a plantain tree. Plantain tree? Which stopped her and said,
Where are you going, Dooku? Can't you stop for a moment and pull down all these creepers crawling up my body so that I can stand up straight? It's hard to stand bent down like this all day and night, please.
And Deku said, I would be glad to do that, thank you. And she tore down all the creepers that were smothering the tree. The tree said,
You're a good girl. I'll help you some other time.
And Dooku said, I didn't do anything special, really. And hurried on, for the wind was waiting for her. Next she met a horse, and it said, Where are you going, Dooku? This saddle and bridle cut into me. I can't bend down to eat the grass. Will you please take them off me?
No.
Dooku took off the saddle and the bridle, and the horse was grateful and promised her a gift. The wind said as they moved on,
Sir, do you see that palace there? That's where the mother of the moon lives, the moon mommy. She can give you as much cotton as you need and some moon milk.
And with that, he left her there. Dooku walked towards the palace, and it seemed deserted. She felt afraid to go in. And so she stood there in front of it for a while and then decided to go in. Timidly, step by step, she walked through the rooms. Not a mouse stirring, not a living soul anywhere. Suddenly, she heard a noise behind a closed door, and she went up to it and knocked softly. A voice said, Come in. Dooku pushed the door open and saw an old lady working at a wheel. She was luminous, as if the moon was specially shining on her. Dooku bowed to her and touched her feet and said, Grandma, the wind blew away all my cotton. Bye-bye. Poof, poof. If I do not spin my mother... If I do not spin, my mother and I will starve. Will you give me some cotton? And the mother of the moon says,
I'll give you something better than cotton if you're deserving. Do you see that pond out there? Go to that pond and dip in it twice. Only twice, not 3 times, remember?
So Dooku walked out of the palace and went to the pond and took a dip. When she rose out of the water, she had changed into someone very beautiful. When she took a second dip, she was covered with silks, pearls, and gems. Her sari was muslin, and she had a gold necklace so heavy that they weighed her down. She couldn't believe what was happening to her. When she ran back to the palace, the old woman said,
Hey, child, I know you are hungry. Go to the next room. I've got food for you there.
The next room had food of every kind, the best rice, the finest curries, sweets beyond her dreams. And after eating her fill, she went back to the old woman, who said,
I want to give you something more.
And showed her 3 caskets, each bigger than the next. She said,
Choose one. This got morbid, didn't it?
Dooku chose the smallest one and said goodbye to the old woman and left the palace. As she retraced her steps, she met the horse, the plantain tree, whatever, and the cow. Each wanted to give her a gift to take home with her. The horse gave her a young colt of the finest Pakshiraj breed. If you remember, those are the Pegasuses. The tree gave her a bunch of plantains, yellow as gold, and a pot full of old gold coins called morhurs. And the cow gave her a tawny calf whose udders would never be dry.
Look at my milky calf.
Just lick it off. Dooku thanked them all for their wonderful gifts and seated herself on the colt with the pot of gold and the plantains, and found her way home with the calf walking close behind her. Her mother, meanwhile, had made herself sick with anxiety, not knowing where Dooku had gone and when she would come back. She was beside herself with joy when she heard Dooku's voice call out to her, Mama, where are you? Look what I've got.
Sacre bleu.
When the mother had recovered from her shock of joy, she couldn't believe her eyes. The muslins, the jewels, the gold coins, the plantains, the horse, and the calf. She looked at every one of them over and over, and she was speechless. After a while, she found her voice and asked her daughter how she came by all these fabulous things. Dooku told her the whole story about the wind, the cow, the tree, the horse, and the old mother of the moon, and ended by saying, That is not all. Here's something else she has given me, this casket.
Happies. Yeah.
And then she showed her mother the casket. They thought it would be full of more jewels, pearls, and gold and silver, but when they slowly opened it, out stepped the most handsome young man dressed like a prince. He said to Dooku without wasting an extra word,
I've been sent to marry you.
Soon a date was fixed. Kith and kin were invited and a great gala wedding was celebrated. The only people who did not come to the wedding were Suku and her mother. Now Dooku's mother was a good woman. Though she had suddenly come into wealth and status, it hadn't gone to her head. She still wanted to be friends with Suku and her mother, and so she offered Suku some ornaments. And they now had heaps of them, because she married Prince. Mm-hmm. But Suku's mother was offended. She put her fist on her cheek and hissed. Sorry.
Oh,
that's you. You're Suku's mom.
Why should Suku take your leftovers? She's not going to beg for jewels. If God had wanted to give my daughter jewels, he would have kept her father alive. My Suku is lovely, she is. She needs no ornament. Only girls who are ugly as owls need fine saris and necklaces to make them look good.
But she didn't forget to make discreet inquiries to find out how Dooku had come by her great good fortune. Once she had learned where Dooku had gone and how she found the Mother of the Moon, she said to herself,
I'll show her. She's trying to rub her good luck on my face. I'll make my Suku 100 times richer.
Then she bought Suku a spinning wheel and made her spin on the outer yard where the wind was blowing. She said,
"Sit out and sit and spin." Little Suku. Listen to me carefully, Suku. The wind will blow away a wad of cotton. Don't forget you must howl and wail till the wind asks you to follow it. Be courteous to anyone you meet on the way. Go wherever the wind takes you, till you meet the mother of the moon.
Suku said, I guess I'll do exactly as like you say, Mom. And began to spin. Soon as expected, a big wind swept away all of her cotton. She began to howl and cry as if someone in the house had died. The wind said, Loser.
Don't cry, Suku. Just for a wad of cotton. Come with me and I'll get you all the cotton you could want.
Suku then followed the wind just as Deku had done earlier. Dooku. She too met the cow, who asked her to clean the shed, but she tossed her head and said, Clean your stinking shed? Me? Fat chance. I'm like on my way to see the mother of the moon. Like, oh my God, really? I'm gonna be covered in shit. I'm gonna go meet the mother of the moon. Fucking people. When she met the tree, she said, No, I like got better things to do than take creepers down. I'm kind of in a hurry. Like, gotta go meet this bitch called the Mother of the Moon. She's like supposed to make me super rich. Live on the beach.
How'd the tree get creepers back?
I think it just grows back real fast.
It just grew back, yeah. It's a bad neighborhood and I'm a sexy tree. I get a lot of creepers.
She was just as insulting to the horse. You stupid nag. Who do you think I am? Your groom's daughter or something? Yeah, right, like they could afford me. They said nothing, but they were hurt. They bided their time. And it was a long way to the palace, and Suku was sick and tired of walking. She arrived at the palace in a foul mood, forgetting her mother's instructions. She burst into the old woman's room and screamed, The wind has, blown away all my cotton. You had better give me some more, or else, or I'll just start breaking shit. I'm just gonna tip over shit and break everything. You like this mirror? Smash. You like this fucking vase? Smash. You spinning some thread? Smash.
Smash. Yeah.
And don't take too long about it. Chop chop. Hurry up. The old woman didn't raise her voice. She said to the young woman quite gently,
Sit down and shut up, bitch. Moon Mommy's gonna do whatever she wants. I'll give you something better than cotton, but you must do as I say. Do you see that pond out the window? Go out there and take 2 dips. Only 2 dips. No more, or you'll be sorry.
Suku ran to the pond and jumped into it, and made her a beauty. She dived into it for a second time, and she came up covered with silks and jewels. She was beside herself with joy and couldn't stop looking at herself in the water, and then she thought, if I take one more dip, I'm sure I'll get much more than Dooku did, that little shit bitch. The old woman doesn't want me to have more than she gave Dooku, so that's why she's asked me not to take more than 2 dips, right? But I think I'm gonna do it, yeah. And then so she dipped in a 3rd time.
Uh-oh.
But when she rose from the water, she was grief-stricken to see that her jewels and finery were gone, and her nose had grown long as an elephant's trunk, and her body was covered with blisters and boils.
And her clitoris had turned to stone.
With teeth.
She
ran to the Mother of the Moon, white with rage, shaking her head and fists at her. She screamed, Look at what you've done to me! What the fuck? Now Chowdy totally won't look at me no more. Fuck. The old woman looked at her from top to toe and said,
You didn't listen to me, did you? You dipped in the pond more than twice. This is what you get for not listening to me. You've only yourself to thank for the mess you're in. But I've one more thing to offer you. A bag of human shit.
And then she showed her the 3 caskets, each one bigger than the next. and asked the young woman to choose one for herself. Suku had eyes only for the largest of them and chose that. Meanwhile, her mother was impatiently pacing to and fro in the yard, worrying about her girl not coming home. She cried,
"When is it going to be? When's she going to be back? And when can I feast my eyes on the jewels?"
Suddenly she heard her daughter's voice from behind the bushes. "Psst, Mama, Mother, help me, Mom." The mother ran out to greet her, but nearly died of shock when she saw what she saw. The daughter's nose was as long as an elephant's trunk. Her body was covered with boils and not jewels. She cried in despair.
What happened to you, Suko? What happened to you, you disgusting thing? What did you do?
But Suku showed her the casket and said, "The old crone asked me to choose, so I chose the biggest of them all, right?" Stupid bitch.
It's full of human shit.
The mother thought.
That old woman must be playing tricks. She has some surprise waiting for here. It just smells like human shit, that's all. She's gonna make up for it. The way she treated my Suku.
Anxiously, with beating hearts, they opened the casket, and out came a long black snake, hissing angrily. It pounced on Suku and swallowed her whole. The python swallows a goat. Her mother went raving mad and died soon after. The end.
Wow.
Do we got time for one more?
Yeah, at least it wasn't a brown snake. It was just a big brown
Viper.
coil. Big brown viper just
Big
coiled
black viper.
up there
Yeah.
with some corn in it.
Ew.
Corn? Yeah, you ain't never heard of the brown corn viper?
No, gross. Okay, last one. This one's called 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. From Sentali.
Hey-o.
1, 2, 3.
A rich and powerful Raja was convinced in his heart that no one in the world was as powerful as he was.
Now listen, Roger.
But he told no one about it. One day he began to wonder whether others could guess what he was thinking. So he called together all of his officers and servants and asked them to tell him what thought he had in his heart. Many of them made guesses, but no one could satisfy the Raja with his answer. Then the Raja ordered his Diwan, his minister, to find him someone who could guess his thought, and he gave the Diwan exactly a month's time to find the genius. The Diwan searched everywhere, but all in vain, and as the month was coming to a close, he grew quite desperate. But he had a daughter who cheered him up by saying that she would find the right man on the appointed day. The Diwan said,
"All right, let's see what you can come up with,"
and gave her the job. When the appointed day arrived, his daughter brought home a simpleton, a shepherd in their employ, and asked her father to take him to the Raja. The Diwan was aghast at his daughter's choice, but the daughter insisted that this stupid shepherd was the answer to all of his troubles. The Diwan saw no alternative, and he trusted his daughter, and so he took the shepherd to court. The court had already assembled, and the Raja was waiting. The Diwan presented the shepherd to the Raja. When the shepherd lifted his eyes to look at the Raja held up one finger. At this, the shepherd held up 2 fingers, and then the Raja held up 3 fingers. But at this, the fellow shook his head violently and tried to run away. Then the Raja laughed and seemed very pleased. He praised the Diwan for bringing such a clever man and gave him a rich reward. The Diwan was unpulsed, and he couldn't make sense of what had just happened, and begged the Raja to explain. The Raja said,
the shepherd's just totally ignorant. So he did 1, I did 2, he did 3, I don't know 3, so I said, no, I gotta go. When I held up 1 finger, I asked him if I was the only king here, and he said, no, look at my 2 fingers, look at this. He said, also, God, remember? And I was like, oh, yeah, he's at least as powerful as me, maybe even Maybe even slightly higher rank, but who am I to say? Then I put up the third finger because I was trying to fuck with him, and I was like, yeah, what's this mean, bitch? And he said, nope, there's no third. And then this man, he's really read my brain there. He got all up in my brain there, and he read it all. And I've been thinking that, I alone was powerful. But he reminded me that there's God as well. But no fucking third. I will cut off every man's third finger if they even try to say the number 3.
Then they all went their ways. That night, the Dewan asked the stupid shepherd what he had made of the exchange between him and the Raja. The fellow explained.
I've only got the 3 sheep on my own, and then I thought when you took me before the Raja, and he was up there, and he said the one finger, meaning he wanted one of my sheep, and I said, okay, you can have a sheep. And he said, the great Raja, and then I offered to give him 2. But when he said he held up 3 fingers, and he showed he wanted all my sheep, and I said, no, that's my sheep. I'm going to need that sheep. I want to keep that sheep. I love that sheep. I thought he was going to go too far, so I said, no, I got to run away. I need to make a poopy.
The end.
Yeah. Who was that brilliant genius of a shepherd you brought in? I thought that, and he wanted the stapler, but it was my stapler, and I bought the stapler, so I could.
Well, my stapler.
He wanted my sheep, and I was like, you can't have my third sheep. I thought third sheep's my wife.
Fuck you. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that.
Yeah, this man read my mind. He's a mind reader.
Totally on a different level of playing. I kind of like this story.
The king just interpreted something so deep out of it. He said he was in my brain. He brought up thoughts about my childhood, things I hadn't even thought about in years. I smelled smells that were memories, man. It was crazy. He was that good. He's over there like, sometimes I like to pee on my poop, so I cut it in half.
That's exactly what the smell is.
That's exactly what the smell was.
I did that too.
You're a genius, man.
Yes. No, I was kidding. Well, on that extra fun, juicy note, please don't forget to like,
subscribe, share, tell your friends.
Check out our merch store.
Yep. Teespring.com/high-mythology-merch.
Perfect.
All good stuff. Get it now.
Find it all.
Yeah.
Get it all. Wherever you get your
Remember, if you come across a cow, a tree, and a horse, be cool.
Be cool. Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick to a horse.
Try not to be a Karen.
Don't
ask where its manager is.
Yeah. I'm a horse and I need your help.
I need to speak to your manager.
I need to speak to your manager because this is uncalled for.
This is racial profiling. I will not have it.
This is assault. I will call the police right now. Do you want me to call the police on you?
I know half the officers.
I know all the horses here. And let me tell you this. I'm not being racist. None of them are black. Okay? So what are you doing in this field, horse?
You don't belong.
You don't belong.
Your kind don't belong
You've
here.
You've never been here before, lady. This is my field. You just walk through it.
Get the fuck out of here.
Demanded to see my manager and then threatened to call the police on me.
Oh, maybe it's a Native American horse.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not.
I know.
Because it's in India.
Hey.
Yeah.
They were used in slaves trades too.
It was a Native American horse brought all the way over to India. Now that's a story right there.
Yeah.
Fucking stick that in your mouth.
It's called the Ramayana.
It's called the Ramayana horse.
We're going to get to that one.
Yeah.
That is an epic, old school tale.
Super epic. Hella epic, y'all.
About 1,000 years after Gilgamesh. Or around the same time as Gilgamesh, I want to say.
That would have to be after, I think.
I think it was after. Shortly after.
Shortly thereafter.
Like 500 or 600 years later or some shit.
Yeah. Anyway, tune in next week for some more shit.
Yeah.
We love you folks.
Yep.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.